The Great Hall of Concordia Prime was the largest room ever built by any species in the galaxy. It floated in the darkness of space, a monument to peace and cooperation between 12 different alien races. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had met here to solve problems, settle disputes, and guide the future of all civilized worlds. Admiral Park stood at the entrance and looked at the massive chamber. Thousands of seats rose in circles around a central platform. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy filled those seats. Some had scales, some had fur, some had no bodies at all, just clouds of glowing energy contained in special chambers. All of them were watching her. She was 52 years old. Her black hair had streaks of now. Her uniform carried the medals of 3 wars and 2 decades of service, but none of that mattered here. To the creatures in this room, she was just a human, a member of the youngest species in the council, a child at the adults' table. Ambassador walked beside her. He was 61 and he had spent 30 years of his life in this hall. He knew every diplomatic trick, every political game, every hidden meaning behind every word spoken here. His face showed nothing, but could see the tension in his shoulders. Behind them came Captain and the rest of the human delegation, 20 people in total, the smallest group in the room. They took their seats in the section marked for humanity. It was in the back, far from the center, far from the important species. Had complained about this for years. The council always said the same thing. Seating was based on seniority. Humans had only been members for 200 years. They would have to wait their turn. The ambassador rose to speak first. He was tall, almost 3 meters, with dark blue skin and 4 arms. His species controlled 30 star systems and had been on the council for 800 years. When he spoke, everyone listened. "We are here to discuss the incident in the Outer Rim," he said. His voice was deep and smooth. 3 human colony worlds were attacked. This is a tragedy. The Dominion offers its sympathy. Felt her hands tighten into fists. Incident. He called it an incident. 4.2 million people were dead. Cities burned to ash. Children floating frozen in the vacuum of space. And he called it an incident. Ambassador stood. He had to wait for the light on his podium to turn green before he could speak. It took almost a full minute. The light for the turned green immediately. "Thank you, Ambassador," said. His voice was calm and steady. "The United Earth Federation has completed its investigation. We have evidence that identifies the attackers." He pressed a button on his console. Holographic images appeared in the center of the hall. Ship fragments with writing on them. Weapon signatures that matched military systems. Genetic material from soldiers found in the ruins. "The attacks were carried out by forces of the Dominion," said. "The evidence is clear." Silence fell over the hall. Every eye turned to the ambassador. He did not look surprised. He did not look worried. He smiled. "This evidence is fake," he said simply. "Humans are young and emotional. They want someone to blame. They have created false proof to attack our reputation." Stood before her light turned green. Several aliens gasped at this break in protocol. She did not care. "We recovered pieces of your ships from our dead cities," she said. "We found the bodies of your soldiers among our murdered families. How is that fake?" The trade minister, a creature that looked like a spider made of crystal, made a clicking sound. "The admiral is out of order. She speaks without permission." "My people are dead without permission," replied. Ambassador put a gentle hand on her arm. She sat down, but her eyes never left the ambassador. The debate continued for 6 hours. The everything. The said more investigation was needed. The ancient beings of light and energy suggested that perhaps humans had misunderstood the situation. One by one, the elder species spoke, and one by one they said the same thing: wait, investigate, be patient. Watched the ambassador during a break in the session. He was talking quietly with the minister and an elder. They were laughing. laughing while the ashes of human children still floated in space. She understood then. This was not a failure of justice. This was the plan. The attack was approved. The elder races wanted humanity contained, controlled, kept small, and they would do whatever was necessary to make that happen. The final vote came at midnight. 9 species voted against taking action. 3 voted in favor, including humanity. The motion failed. "The Council will form a committee to investigate these claims," the chairman announced. "Humanity is advised to remain patient and trust in the process." Ambassador gathered his papers slowly. His hands were steady but could see his heart breaking. 30 years of work, 30 years of believing in this system, gone. They walked out of the hall together in silence. When they reached their quarters, sat down heavily in a chair. 200 years, he said quietly. We followed every rule, we were patient, we were good. Pulled out her communicator. Her finger hovered over a button she had hoped she would never need to press. We were fools, she said, no more. She pressed the button. Earth Command, this is Admiral Park, Priority Omega. The Council has abandoned us. Begin Protocol Prometheus. On Earth, lights began turning on in dark buildings. Ships that had been sleeping for decades started to wake, and humanity began to remember that they had never truly shown the galaxy what they could do. President had not slept in 3 days. He sat in his office in the heart of Earth's capital, staring at reports that made his stomach turn. The faces of the dead scrolled across his screen. Mothers, fathers, children, grandparents. 4.2 million faces. He made himself look at every single one. He was 58 years old. Before he became president, he had been a professor of alien politics. He had written books about peaceful cooperation with other species. He had believed, truly believed, that the galaxy could be a family. Now he was not so sure. General entered his office without knocking. She was 49, with sharp eyes and a face that rarely smiled. She carried a tablet filled with information that would change everything. The Council voted against us, she said, as we expected. Nodded, Ambassador sent his report. They called our evidence fake. They know it is not fake, sat down across from him. They simply do not care. We have intercepted communications between thee and the. The attack was planned together. The knew about it. They all knew. Why? Asked, though he already knew the answer. Because we are growing too fast. Human colonies have spread across 40 systems in 200 years. We trade better than the. We build better than the. We adapt better than anyone. His voice was cold. They are afraid of us, Mr. President, so they decided to cut us down before we became too strong to stop. Closed his eyes. He thought about his daughter who lived on Colony Meridian 3. She had escaped the attacks by pure luck. Her best friend had not been so lucky. What are our options? He asked. We have 2 choices. First, we accept the Council's decision. We stay quiet. We let them get away with murder, and we wait for the next attack which will come. They will keep pushing until we break. And the second choice? His eyes gleamed. We show them who they have been sleeping next to for 200 years. She placed her tablet on his desk. The screen showed ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Massive vessels with sleek designs and weapons that glowed with strange energy. Technologies that should not exist. The Prometheus Protocols said, for 200 years our best scientists have worked in secret. The Council limited what technology we could develop. We smiled and agreed. Then we went home and built whatever we wanted. Stared at the images. How far ahead are we? At least 50 years, maybe more. Our fastest ships can cross the galaxy in days. The Council's ships take months. Our weapons can disable an entire fleet without killing a single person, or they can destroy planets if we choose. Leaned forward. We have the power, Mr. President. We always had it. We just never used it. Because we wanted peace, said. And we still can have peace, but not their kind of peace. Not the peace where we bow and beg and accept whatever scraps they give us. A real peace, between equals. The door opened again. Dr. Nam walked in, a thin man of 45 with messy hair and tired eyes. He was the architect of everything humanity had built in secret, the father of the Prometheus protocols. "Mr. President," he said, "there is something else you need to see." He pulled up a new image on the screen. It showed a network of massive structures floating in space, each one as large as a moon. They pulsed with golden light. "We call it the Lighthouse Network," explained. "Artificial suns, unlimited energy. With these, we do not need fuel from other species. We do not need trade routes through their space. We do not need anything from the galaxy at all." Understood what this meant. Humanity could survive alone. They could close their borders, keep everyone out, and live forever in isolation. They did not need the Council. They never had. "If we leave," he said slowly, "what happens to the galaxy?" An exchanged looks. "The economy depends on human traders," said. "Without us, they collapse within 6 months. They use human mediators for half their internal disputes. Without us, they fall into civil war. The military looks strong, but human engineers maintain their most important stations." Nodded. "We have spent 200 years making ourselves useful to everyone. If we leave, the whole system falls apart." Stood and walked to his window. Earth spread out below him, blue and green and beautiful, his home, his people's home. "Prepare the declaration," he said. "Call an emergency session of the Senate. We will vote tonight." The vote was not close. Every senator, every representative, every voice in humanity's government spoke as one. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would leave the Galactic Council. Every treaty would end. Every agreement would be canceled. Every human in council space would come home. And the galaxy would learn to live without them. Ambassador received the orders on Concordia Prime. He read them 3 times, hoping the words would change. They did not. Captain found him sitting alone in the dark. "Ambassador." He looked up, his eyes were wet. "I gave my whole life to building bridges, 30 years. I thought I was making things better." Sat beside him. She was young, but she understood his pain. "Some bridges lead to people who want to hurt you," she said. "Those bridges need to be burned." Was quiet for a long time. Then he stood, straightened his jacket, and walked toward the communications center. "Prepare the formal declaration," he said. "We speak to the council tomorrow." His voice was steady now. The diplomat was gone. Something harder had taken his place. The Grand Assembly had not been called in 30 years. It was reserved for the most important moments in galactic history: wars, alliances, the rise and fall of empires. Every species sent their highest representatives. Every seat was filled. Today, 12,000 aliens waited in the Great Hall of Concordia Prime. They whispered to each other, wondering what the humans wanted. Most of them expected an apology. Perhaps the young species had realized their mistake. Perhaps they would beg for forgiveness and promise to be more patient in the future. They were wrong. The doors opened at exactly noon. Admiral Park walked in first, wearing her full military dress uniform. Every medal, every ribbon, every symbol of her service was displayed. Behind her came Ambassador, his face calm as stone. And behind them came every human on the station. Diplomats, soldiers, scientists, workers. 300 people in total. They did not walk to their seats in the back. They walked straight to the center of the hall. The chairman, an ancient elder, flickered with surprise. "The human delegation is out of order. Please return to your designated area." Ambassador did not stop walking. He climbed onto the central platform, the place where only senior species were allowed to speak. The crowd gasped. "I will speak now," said. His voice echoed through the hall. "You will listen." The ambassador rose angrily. "This is against all protocol. Guards, remove them." No one moved. The guards looked at each other nervously. The humans stood in perfect formation, their eyes cold and steady. For 200 years, began, humanity has followed your rules. We asked for permission before we spoke. We waited our turn. We sat in the back of this room and watched you make decisions about our future. He pulled out a small device and pressed a button. Holographic numbers appeared above his head. In 200 years, humans have submitted 847 requests for territorial expansion. 12 were approved. We have submitted 2,341 trade proposals. 89 were approved. We have asked 156 times for equal voting rights. All 156 requests were. The numbers hung in the air, glowing blue. We were patient, continued. We told ourselves that things would change, that if we worked hard enough, if we proved ourselves enough, you would accept us. He paused and looked around the room. His eyes stopped on the ambassador. Then you burned our worlds. New images appeared, cities on fire, ships exploding in space, bodies floating in the darkness, the death toll climbing 4.2 million. We came to you with proof, said. We showed you the ships that attacked us. We showed you the weapons that killed our children, and you told us to be patient. You told us to wait for an investigation. His voice grew harder. The investigation was a lie. You knew who attacked us. You knew because you approved it. The hall erupted in angry shouts. The trade minister slammed his crystalline fists on his desk. The ambassador demanded that be arrested. The elder flickered between colors too fast to follow. Waited for the noise to die down. Then he spoke the words that would change the galaxy forever. The United Earth Federation hereby withdraws from the Galactic Council. All treaties between humanity and council species are canceled. All agreements are ended. All human personnel will leave council space within 30 days. Silence, complete and total silence. Any ship that enters human territory without permission will be considered hostile. Any attack on human citizens will be answered with force. His voice was ice. You wanted us gone from your table. Now we are gone. The minister recovered first. You cannot do this. Our economies are connected. Trade agreements cannot simply be canceled. They just were, Admiral Park said. The ambassador laughed. It was a cruel, ugly sound. Let them go. They will come crawling back within a year. Humans cannot survive without us. They are too weak, too small, too primitive. Park turned to face him. She was not a tall woman, but in that moment she seemed to fill the entire room. You think we are weak because we have been quiet. You think we are small because we have been patient. You think we are primitive because we let you believe it. She smiled, and there was no warmth in it. We are something you have never bothered to understand, and now you will learn what humanity is capable of. Not because we will attack you. We will not. We will simply leave, and you will discover how much you needed us. The human delegation turned as one. 300 people began walking toward the doors. Their footsteps echoed in the silent hall. The ambassador was still laughing. Go, run home. In a year you will beg us to take you back. The elder was not laughing. She had pulled up her data screens and was reading information that made her ancient light grow pale. Ambassador, she said quietly to look at what their ships are doing. On the screens, human vessels across the galaxy were moving. Massive ships that no one had ever seen before were appearing from hidden locations. Technologies that should not exist were powering up. The ambassador's laughter died in his throat. What is that? He whispered. The elder's voice was very soft. That is what they were building while we were laughing at them. The doors closed behind the last human. The sound echoed through the hall like the ending of an age. And across the galaxy, the ground began to shake. The evacuation began immediately. Across 1,000 worlds, humans started packing their bags and heading home. They left quietly, without anger, without violence. They simply gathered their things and walked away. and the galaxy began to fall apart. Trader O commanded a convoy of 15 cargo ships. For 12 years, he had carried goods between worlds, earning respect and good money. Now he was leading his fleet back to human space. His ships were full, not with cargo but with people. Human families who had lived among aliens for generations, children who had never seen Earth, old people who thought they would die far from home. "Captain," his navigator said, "we have company." On the screens, warships appeared, 20 of them blocking the path forward. "Attention, human vessels," a voice crackled over the radio. "You will stop and surrender your cargo. Trade agreements require you to complete your current contracts." Laughed, he could not help it. "Trade agreements are canceled," he replied. "We are going home. Move your ships or we will move them for you. You have no weapons. You are cargo vessels. You will obey." "We are not what you think we are." Pressed a button on his console. The cargo bays on all 15 ships opened, but there was no cargo inside. Instead, weapons systems that they had never seen unfolded from hidden compartments. His cargo ships transformed before their eyes, becoming warships armed with technology 50 years ahead of anything the Council had. The fleet hesitated. "We are leaving," said calmly. "You can let us pass or you can find out what these weapons do. Your choice." The ships moved aside. On Station 4, the largest trading hub in space, Engineer Shin and her team were shutting down systems. For 8 years, she had maintained the station's power grid. Without her, the lights would go dark. An officer followed her through the corridors, arguing and threatening. "You cannot leave. We have contracts, laws." Did not slow down. "Your council said we were liars. Your council protected the people who killed our families. So now your council can fix its own problems. We will arrest you." She stopped and turned to face him. She was small, barely reaching his chest, but her eyes made him step back. 50,000 humans work on this station," she said. "We run your power systems, your water recycling, your food production, your medical centers. In 3 days, we will all be gone. In 3 weeks, this station will be dark. In 3 months, everyone here will be dead unless you learn to do our jobs." She handed him a data pad. "I left instructions. Try to keep up." Then she walked away. Behind her, alarms began to sound as systems she had managed for 8 years started to fail. On Concordia Prime, watched the chaos spread. She was one of the oldest and one of the few who had always treated humans kindly. Now she understood how badly her people had failed. She contacted Admiral Park through a secret channel. "Please," she said, "you must reconsider. They were wrong, but innocent people will suffer. Children will starve. Colonies will die." Park's face appeared on her screen. The Admiral looked tired but determined. "The innocent people should have spoken up when our children were burning," Park said. "The galaxy voted against us. The galaxy chose." "What are you planning?" "Nothing. We are going home. What happens to the galaxy is not our problem anymore." Light flickered with distress. "There must be something we can do, some way to make this right." "There was. The time was 6 months ago when we asked for justice. That time has passed." The channel closed. On the 15th day of the evacuation, they made their mistake. Ambassador's convoy was crossing through contested space. 30 ships carrying the last humans from the council capital. They decided to make an example of them. 50 warships surrounded the convoy. Their commander was a young officer eager to prove his strength. "Human vessels, you will surrender. Your leaders will face trial for crimes against the council. Resist and we will destroy you." Stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the enemy fleet close in. Captain stood beside him. "Ambassador," she asked. "Wait," he said. "They are charging weapons." "Wait." The commander smiled and gave the order to fire. And then the stars themselves seemed to move. Human ships appeared from nowhere. Not the small patrol vessels the Council had on record, but something else entirely. Ships 3 kilometers long, glowing with energy that burned like captured suns. 30 of them, surrounding the fleet like wolves around sheep. They fired. Their weapons did nothing. The human shields absorbed everything without even flickering. Then the human ships fired back. The battle lasted 11 seconds. When it was over, every ship was disabled. Their weapons were melted. Their engines were dead. Their shields were gone, but not a single was killed. The humans had destroyed their entire military capability without taking a single life. Opened a channel to the commander. "We could have killed you all in the first second," he said. "Remember that. Remember that we chose not to, and tell your masters what you saw today." The human fleet continued on its way. Behind them, the commander sat in his broken ship and tried to understand what had just happened. The reports reached the Council within hours. The ambassador watched footage of the battle, his face pale. "How," he whispered, "how do they have this?" Stood behind him. Her light was dim with sorrow. 200 years, she said. 200 years you mocked them, you dismissed them, you treated them like children, and all that time they were building, learning, preparing. She turned to leave. You never asked what they were doing with all that time. Now you know. 6 months passed. The galaxy had changed beyond recognition. Human space was quiet and peaceful. The Lighthouse Network provided unlimited energy to every human world. New cities rose on old colonies. Families rebuilt what they had lost. Children played in parks, never knowing how close their people had come to war. Admiral Park, now retired, spent her days gardening on Earth. She grew tomatoes and peppers and watched the news with her morning coffee. The news from the galaxy was not good. The economy had collapsed completely. Without human traders, their merchant fleets had nowhere to go and nothing to carry. Billions were unemployed. Their government had fallen twice in 6 months. The Union was at war with itself. For centuries, human diplomats had helped different factions talk to each other. Without them, old conflicts exploded into violence. The ancient species of light was tearing itself apart. The Dominion was the worst of all. Their subjects, dozens of conquered species, had seen the battle footage. They had watched the mighty fleet destroyed in 11 seconds, and they had realized that their masters were not as strong as they pretended to be. Rebellions broke out on 30 worlds. The empire was burning. President watched these reports with a heavy heart. He had not wanted this. He had only wanted his people to be safe. "Sir," his aide said, "there are ships at the border, refugee ships." Closed his eyes. He had known this moment would come. "How many?" "Thousands, more every day, even some. They are running from the chaos. They have nowhere else to go. And they come to us, the species they laughed at, the species they tried to destroy." "Yes, sir." Stood and walked to his window. Earth spread out below him, blue and green and beautiful. His home, safe at last. But what kind of home was it, if they closed their doors to people in need? He called an emergency meeting. Captain was now commander, in charge of Border Station 7. She stood on the observation deck and watched the refugee ships approach. Hundreds of vessels, packed with frightened families running from worlds that were falling apart. Her communicator buzzed. President's face appeared. "Commander, the Senate has voted. We will accept refugees on humanitarian grounds. Medical ships first. Families with children second. Screen them carefully, but help them if you can." Nodded slowly. "Understood, sir." The channel closed. Her second officer, lieutenant, stepped up beside her. "Commander, are you all right?" She did not answer right away. She was thinking about her sister, who had died when the burned colony Meridian 7. She was thinking about the 4.2 million humans who would never come home. She was thinking about every insult, every rejection, every cruel laugh she had endured in her years among the elder species. And now their people came begging at her door. A new ship appeared on the sensors. It was a medical transport, its hull marked with symbols of peace. It was requesting asylum. "Commander," said quietly, "that ship is carrying wounded, including children." Stared at the screen. Children, the children of the species that murdered her sister. She could turn them away. No one would blame her. After everything they had done, she had every right to close the door. But that was not who she wanted to be. "Open a channel," she said. The captain appeared on screen. He was old, with scars on his blue face. His eyes were desperate. "Human commander," he said, "we have 3,000 wounded, mostly civilians. We have nowhere else to go. Our own fleet fired on us when we tried to surrender. Please." Looked at him for a long moment. "Lower your weapons," she said. "Prepare for escort. Medical teams will board once you are inside the safe zone." The old's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, thank you." Stared at her. "Commander, I know what they did." His voice was steady. "But we are not them. That is the whole point. We are better, and we prove it with our actions, not our words." She turned to face her crew. "They sent their children to us because they had nowhere else to go. What we do now defines what humanity becomes. I choose to be better than those who hurt us. Anyone who cannot accept that may request transfer. But this is my station, and on my station we do what is right." No one requested transfer. 1 year later, a new station floated in neutral space. It was built by human and alien hands together, a symbol of something that had never existed before: true equality between species. The first session of the new compact was about to begin. Not a council where elder species ruled and young species begged. A partnership where every voice mattered equally. Admiral Park stood on the observation deck, watching representatives from 50 species arrive. Some had been enemies. Some had been victims. All of them were starting fresh. Approached her. The ancient's light was soft and warm. "You could have destroyed us," said. "After what we did, after how we treated you, you had the power to end us all. Why did you not?" Park watched a shuttle dock beside a human transport. Inside, former enemies were shaking hands and sharing meals. "We did not leave that table to prove we were stronger," she said. "We left because we deserved better. There is a difference. And now you build something new, with us, even though we failed you." Park smiled. It was the first real smile she had allowed herself in years. "Everyone deserves a second chance. That is what makes us human." She looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, her old life waited, her garden, her quiet retirement, her peace. But there was still work to do. "Besides," she said, "the galaxy is more interesting with everyone in it." The doors opened. The session began. And humanity took its seat at a new table, one they had helped build, where no one would ever be turned away again. The galaxy had shaken when humans walked away. Now it would grow stronger as humans helped it stand back up. That was the real victory. Not power, not revenge, but the choice to be kind even to those who did not deserve it. And that choice made all the difference.